The mining colony on planet Virex 9 was always dark. Thick clouds hid the sun. Cold winds moved through broken machines and forgotten junk. Rust and silence lived here. Ben, a human engineer, walked alone through the scrapyard that night. He wore a heavy coat and carried a tool bag. His boots crunched on gravel. He was checking for parts, a daily habit. But that night, something felt different. The air felt heavy, like a storm was coming. Then he heard it. A sound. Not metal, not wind. It was crying, soft, weak, like a small child. Ben froze. His hand moved slowly to the wrench hanging on his belt. He looked around. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. He stepped deeper into the yard. Between giant broken pipes and shattered ship parts, the sound came again. A whimper. Closer now. He followed the sound behind a large metal crate. There, curled up beside an old engine block, was a small figure covered in dirt, shaking. Ben knelt down. "Hey, you okay?" The figure looked up. Big glowing eyes, skin a pale lavender, small ridges on her forehead. Not human. She was an alien child. Thin, weak, maybe 6 or 7 years old, clothes torn, feet bare. One hand held something tight to her chest, a glowing necklace. Ben didn't move. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said gently. The little girl stared at him for a moment. Then she whispered, "You're human." Ben nodded. "Yeah, name's..." "Ben, what's yours?" She didn't answer. Then she asked something strange. "Will you protect me, like my father did?" Ben blinked. He wasn't sure what to say. Before he could answer, her body shook. She was cold. She looked so tired. Her lips were cracked. Her arms had bruises. Ben took off his coat and wrapped it around her. "Come on. I'll take you somewhere warm." The girl hesitated. Then slowly she reached out and grabbed his hand. Ben lifted her into his arms. She was light. Too light. Like she hadn't eaten in days. As he turned to go back to his shelter, a red light blinked in the distance. Ben squinted. At the top of a junk pile, something shiny reflected the light. A sniper scope. He ducked, just in time. Pew, a laser bolt slammed into the metal behind him. Ben cursed. He ran. More shots came, missing by inches. The little girl hid her face in his chest. She didn't scream. She didn't cry now. She had done this before. Ben ran fast, weaving between machines and wrecks. He knew this yard better than anyone. After minutes of running, he reached his small shelter, half buried under old cargo containers. The door opened with a code. He slid inside and shut it fast. Silence. He locked all 3 bolts, then set the girl on a soft chair near the heater. "Who was that?" Ben asked, panting. The girl didn't speak. She looked down. Her tiny fingers clutched the necklace again. Ben noticed strange glowing marks on her back, like a tattoo, but alive. Moving. "What are those?" The girl shook her head. "They find me if I talk." Ben sighed. He poured her a cup of warm broth and handed it to her. She drank it in small sips. "I'll need a name to call you," he said, she thought. Then whispered, "Lena." "Okay, Lena. You're safe now." She looked at him. Her eyes were tired but sharp. "My father said that too," she whispered. "Before they took him." Ben leaned forward. "Who's hunting you?" She didn't answer, but one tear fell down her cheek. Ben clenched his fist. He didn't know what trouble he had stepped into, but one thing was clear. This wasn't just some lost alien child. Someone wanted her gone, and now they'd come after him too. Ben didn't sleep that night, not after the sniper shot, not with Lena curled up in his old chair, shivering in her sleep. He sat near the door, holding a plasma cutter like a weapon. The wind howled outside, rattling loose sheets of metal. But the real danger wasn't the wind, It was whoever had aimed at a little girl. That kind of evil didn't stop after one miss. As the sunless morning arrived, Ben heated some soup. Lena stirred, her eyes opening slowly. "Did they find us?" she whispered. "Not yet," Ben said. "But they will?" Lena sat up. She looked smaller without fear on her face, but that fear always returned. Her hand stayed tight around the glowing necklace like it was the last piece of her world. Ben pointed to the strange glowing marks on her back again. "I need answers, Lena. I can't help you if I don't know what you are." She hesitated, then pulled her shirt aside to show him more. It wasn't just marks. It was a symbol, a star, surrounded by 6 broken rings. Beneath it, alien letters glowed softly, then vanished. Ben stepped back. He had seen that symbol once before. It belonged to the Velnari Empire. They were thought to be extinct. Wiped out in the Great Purge 15 years ago. Ben stared at the girl. "You're Velnari?" Lena nodded slowly. "My father was a general, a good one. They said he betrayed the wrong people." Ben swallowed hard. "Then why are they after you?" "They want to erase all of us," she said. "Even the children." Ben rubbed his face. He hadn't planned on becoming a guardian of a royal fugitive today. He checked the scanner on his wall. A red dot blinked, then 2, then 3. "They're here," he muttered. Outside, soft footsteps crunched on the gravel. Ben reached under the floor and pulled out a dusty crate. Inside, his old mercenary gear, guns, energy cells, and one black coat he hadn't worn since the war ended. He strapped on a blaster and handed Lena a comlink. "If anything happens, run. Don't stop. Don't look back." Lena grabbed his hand suddenly. "Don't leave me like my father." Ben looked at her. That tiny voice. That broken hope. "I won't." He stepped out into the scrapyard. Cold air hit his face. The sky above was gray and still. A figure stepped out from behind a tall engine part. He wore dark armor. His face was hidden under a smooth helmet, but on his left hand a mark burned through the glove, a red skull with wings. Ben's eyes narrowed. He knew that mark. It belonged to the cleaners. Not soldiers. Not bounty hunters. Worse, they were paid erasers, sent to make people disappear quietly. The man raised his hand. "Turn over the girl, human. No one has to die." Ben replied with a single shot, right at the helmet. The cleaner ducked, then vanished into smoke. More shadows moved. Ben ran, firing. His plasma rounds lit up the junkyard. Explosions echoed. Inside the shelter, Lena crouched near the door, watching a small screen. She saw the man with the red skull move like a ghost, fast, deadly. Ben wasn't going to win this. Suddenly, the necklace around her neck blinked 3 times, then projected a map in the air. It showed the desert beyond the scrapyard, and something buried beneath the hills. A ship. An ancient Velnari escape vessel. Lena gasped. My father's last secret. She grabbed her coat, opened the floor panel, and crawled into a hidden tunnel. She couldn't wait for Ben. If she stayed, they'd both die. As she vanished into the dark, Ben stood bleeding behind a wall of wreckage. His hand shook. One shot had burned his arm. The cleaner stepped forward, silent and cold. But then he stopped, because Ben smiled. Just a little. She's already gone, Ben whispered. The man raised his weapon, but a flash of blue light came from behind. Boom. Ben had triggered a scrap bomb. The explosion knocked metal and fire into the sky. The cleaner vanished in the blast. Smoke filled the air, and somewhere far below the earth, Lena crawled through the tunnel, heading toward the hills, toward the ship, and toward answers her enemies wanted buried forever. The tunnel walls were narrow and cold. Lena's small hand scraped against rock and rusted wire as she crawled. Her knees hurt, and dust clung to her face. But she didn't stop. She had to find the ship, the one her father hid from everyone, the one her enemies wanted destroyed. The necklace around her neck blinked, glowing brighter as she moved forward. Suddenly she slipped and fell into an open space. Thud. She hit soft dirt. Lena stood up slowly and looked around. She had reached a secret underground chamber. It was dark, but the necklace lit the room in soft blue. Old stone walls surrounded her. Strange symbols lined the floors and ceiling. And in the center, a massive metal door. She walked toward it. Her necklace pulsed faster. Then, click. The door opened. A cool breeze swept through the room. And behind, the door was something she had never seen with her own eyes. Only in her father's stories, a Velnari royal escape ship, silver and smooth. Wings folded like a bird, half buried in rock but still alive, still humming. She walked closer, heart pounding. Suddenly a red light scanned her body from head to toe. Scanning. "Velnari DNA detected," said a mechanical voice. Then silence. A moment later, the ship opened. Lena stepped inside slowly. The air was dry. The halls were lined with strange lights and alien markings. A long dead guard lay on the floor covered in dust. Then the ship's AI spoke again. "Welcome back, Princess Lena. Estimated age, 7 cycles. Status, last of House Oral." Lena froze. "No," she whispered. "There must be others." But the ship was quiet. Ben would have known what to say. But he wasn't here. She sat down on a bench inside the ship's control room. Her hands touched the screen and images came to life. One showed her father, tall, strong, kind eyes. He spoke through the recording. "If you are seeing this, Lena, then I'm gone. And you are the last hope of our kind. They will call you a mistake, a ghost. But remember, you are the girl who was never supposed to exist. You are proof that the bloodline survived." Tears filled Lena's eyes. Meanwhile, above ground, Ben was crawling out of the rubble, burned, bleeding, angry. He had survived the explosion, but barely. The cleaner was gone, maybe dead, maybe not. Ben's arm was useless. His comlink was cracked. But he was alive, and he had to find Lena. He limped through the yard and activated his emergency tracker. One faint signal blinked, deep underground heading toward the hills. Ben smiled. She made it. He wrapped his arm, grabbed a new blaster and began walking toward her. Inside the ship, Lena explored a glowing room filled with holograms. One showed a map of the planet. Another showed a list of old battle names. Then something clicked behind. A door opened on its own. Lena stepped inside and gasped. It was a royal chamber built for someone like her. A child's bed, clothes, books written in her language, and on the wall a giant painting, her family, her father, her mother, and her, as a baby. I was meant to live here," she whispered. But something else was waiting. As she touched the wall, the ship's AI spoke again. "Warning, hostile entity detected within outer chamber." Lena turned. On a broken monitor, she saw it. A black, spider-like assassin drone crawling through the ship's hallway. One red eye. Blades for legs. No mercy. The ship locked the inner doors. But the drone began cutting through them. Lena backed away. She was trapped. Suddenly, the ship said, "Activating Guardian protocol." And from a hidden wall panel, a weapon floated out. A small metal rod with strange buttons. It hovered in front of her. Only a true heir may command it. Lena touched it. Instantly it glowed bright blue. She didn't know how, but her fingers moved with memory. A shield covered her body. As the door burst open, the drone lunged, and Lena raised the rod. Boom! A wave of energy slammed the drone into the wall. Sparks flew, metal shattered. The drone lay still. Breathing fast, Lena stood over it. She wasn't just a girl anymore. She was a survivor. She was the last Velnari, and she had just awakened something powerful. The stars above the desert didn't shine. Not on Virex 9. Only a thick gray sky, silent and cold, hung over the broken planet. But far below that dead sky, something ancient was awakening. Ben stood at the edge of a deep crater, staring down at the half-buried ship. It glowed faint blue. Alive again. Lena was inside. His arm still burned from the earlier fight, and dried, blood crusted along his shirt. But none of that mattered. He had followed her signal across 2 miles of rock and ash, and now he was finally here. Ben grabbed the last energy cell from his pack, clicked it into his blaster, and whispered, "Hold on, kid." He climbed down into the crater. Inside the ship, Lena sat alone in the control room, staring at an image of the stars. The galaxy map glowed around her, showing every system the Velnari once ruled, all gone now. Every light was marked lost or destroyed. Only one blinking light remained. Her. She zoomed in on the map and found a name. Earth. It was far, but it was still free. She looked down at her hand, holding the Guardian rod, the strange weapon that had saved her life earlier. Its glow had dimmed, but it still pulsed faintly in her grip. "Ben," she whispered. "I hope you're okay." Just then, the ship spoke. "Warning. Multiple heat signatures approaching. Foreign vessel detected. Cruiser class." Lena's eyes widened. On the screen, a large war cruiser descended through the clouds, its wings spread like a hawk. Red markings on the hull. The same symbol the assassin drone had. They found her again. Ben reached the main door of the ship and banged. Twice. Nothing. Then a soft click. The ramp lowered. "Ben!" Lena's voice cried. She ran and hugged him, careful not to touch his injured arm. "You're okay," she said. "Barely," Ben grunted. "But I see you've been busy." Lena led him inside, showing him everything. The ship, the AI, the weapon, the message from her father. Ben listened silently. When she finished, he looked at her with quiet pride. "You're stronger than most soldiers I've known." She smiled, but only for a second. Then the alarm blared again. Enemy war cruiser landing, 30 seconds to contact. Ben didn't panic. He stood. Time to give them a welcome. He walked into the ship's weapon vault, a room filled with alien tech. Lena followed. The AI spoke. "Human detected. No Velnari blood. Limited access granted." A drawer opened. Inside, a small shoulder cannon and a curved blade shimmered. Ben grabbed the blade and looked at Lena. "Ever seen a man, fight with a sword older than your species?" She giggled nervously. Then the ship shook. The cruiser had landed. Outside, black-armored soldiers stepped onto the ground. They moved fast, surrounding the crater. One of them spoke into a comm. "Target confirmed. Child must be retrieved alive. Kill the human." Inside, Ben moved to the front ramp and took position. Lena sat at the ship's core, holding the Guardian rod tightly. The AI whispered to her, "Your power is tied to this ship. You may awaken more, if your heart is ready." She didn't know what that meant, but she knew she couldn't be afraid anymore. Not now. The first shots came, red beams slamming into the ship's shields. Ben fired back with alien tech, the blaster humming louder than any human weapon. Soldiers dropped, but more came. They had drones, rifles, and something worse, a 4-legged siege unit that crawled down the crater wall like a beast. Ben cursed. "I can't take them all, kid." Lena closed her eyes. She felt her heart pounding. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. "One day your voice will wake the stars." She gripped the rod and whispered, "Protect him." The rod burst with light. The ship trembled. From its belly, a wave of energy spread like ripples in water. The siege unit paused. Its systems blinked, then fried. It exploded before reaching Ben. He turned, shocked. "Was that you?" Lena stepped out slowly, her eyes glowing softly now. "I think the ship listens to me." Ben grinned. "Remind me not to make you mad." The Battle wasn't over, but for the first time the enemy was afraid, and the stars above, even if hidden, had begun to shift. Smoke drifted through the air like silent ghosts. The battlefield around the crater had fallen quiet. Ben sat near the ramp, breathing heavily, his blaster hot in his hand. The ground was littered with broken drones, cracked helmets, and sparks from enemy tech. A few black-armored soldiers lay still. But this wasn't victory. It was a pause. Inside the ship, Lena stood in front of a locked chamber. Her hand trembled as she placed her necklace into a slot on the wall. Click. The door opened with a slow hiss. A warm light filled the room. It wasn't a weapon room. It was something else. Something sacred. In the center stood a glowing crystal, floating above a pedestal. Lena stepped closer. The ship's voice whispered, "Final message from General Oral. Private to bloodline only. Do you wish to begin?" Lena nodded, eyes wide. The crystal glowed brighter, then projected a figure in front of her, a tall Velnari warrior with silver markings, strong shoulders, and kind eyes. Her father. Her knees almost gave out, but she stayed standing. The projection looked directly at her. "Lena, if you're watching this, I'm gone." Her lips quivered. The voice felt real, like he was still alive. "I gave everything to protect you. And now, I ask one more thing, not from you, but from the one who finds you." He turned, facing where Ben now stood, watching quietly from the doorway. "To the human who guards my daughter, I beg you, don't let her fall into darkness. She carries more than blood, she carries hope. The Velnari Empire is lost, but she is not. She must live. Even if I cannot." Lena gasped softly. Her heart ached. Her chest felt heavy. The projection turned to her again. "You will feel alone. You will feel scared. But listen to me, child." The voice softened. "The stars are watching you, and I loved you more than the stars themselves." With that, the crystal dimmed. The message ended. Silence filled the room. Ben stepped forward. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Lena wiped her eyes. "He died. Because of me." "No," Ben said firmly. "He died for you." She looked up at him. "Do you really believe that?" "I do," he said. "And I made you a promise. I'm not backing down now." Suddenly the ship blared another warning. "Enemy cruiser powering main cannon. Estimated. Firing in 90 seconds. Ben's eyes went wide. "They're going to blow us apart." The AI added, "Our shield cannot take a direct hit. Evacuation recommended." Lena stood taller. Her voice was different now, calmer, stronger. "No, we're not running." She turned to the control panel. Her hands moved across alien buttons, like they were old friends. The ship came to life. Panels opened, cables shifted, the floor rumbled. Ben held onto a rail. "What are you doing?" "I'm activating the core," she said. "The Guardian system." "The what now?" The ship's AI explained. "The Guardian protocol was hidden by General Oral. It is a last defense command. Only a royal heir may unlock it." Lena placed the rod, the glowing weapon, into a slot beside the core. A surge of energy shot through the ship. Outside, the enemy cruiser charged its cannon. Ben looked through the ship's window. "They're aiming." "Let them," Lena whispered. Above the ship, the cruiser's weapon locked onto the target. The commander smirked. "Goodbye, ghost child." But then, the ground trembled. The Velnari ship rose from the crater, dust and fire spinning around it. Whoom! A massive shield wrapped around it like a glowing sphere. The cruiser fired. Boom! The blast hit the shield and vanished. No explosion, no impact, just silence. Inside, the ship's AI said, "Guardian shield successful. Energy reserves at 64%. Preparing. Counterstrike." Ben looked at Lena in awe. "You just blocked a cruiser's main cannon. She nodded, breathing hard. It's not just a ship, she whispered. It's a part of me. The AI continued. Target locked. Shall we fire? Lena turned to Ben. You said you'd protect me, she said softly. But now I want to protect you too. Ben gave a small smile. Then do it. She placed her hand on the panel. Fire. From the front of the ship, a beam of energy lit up the sky. It hit the enemy cruiser straight through the engines. Boom! The blast cracked the sky. The cruiser tilted, then exploded into flames, falling in pieces to the desert below. Ben watched in shock, then turned to Lena, and saw not just a girl, but the daughter of a warrior, and maybe the future queen of something greater. Flames lit the sky like a second. Sun said the enemy cruiser fell in pieces, raining metal and ash across the desert. The ground shook as burning wreckage crashed into the sand. Ben stood at the window of the alien ship, watching the end of a battle. But he knew it wasn't over. Behind him, Lena fell to her knees. Her breathing was slow, her skin pale. The energy she used to command the Guardian weapon had drained her. Lena! Ben rushed to her, catching her before she hit the floor. Her eyes fluttered open. Did we win? Ben nodded. Yeah, kid, you lit up the sky. She smiled faintly, then closed her eyes. The ship's AI spoke, calm but urgent. Warning, vital signs dropping. She is entering shutdown. The Guardian core is absorbing her life force. What? Ben stared at the glowing rod still plugged into the ship's system. It was pulsing, feeding on her. Shut it down, he yelled. Only a royal heir can. Disconnect. Ben held her small hand. Come on, Lena. Stay with me. Her voice was barely a whisper. I just wanted to protect you, like you did for me. No, Ben said. You're not dying for me. Not like this. He stood, his eyes locked on the core. It was glowing bright now, full of power, too dangerous to touch. Ben didn't care. He ripped off his glove, grabbed the rod, and screamed. Energy surged through his body. His skin burned, eyes wide with pain. But he didn't let go. I made a promise, he growled through gritted teeth. I said I'd protect her. A flash of white light exploded from the core, then silence. Moments later, the ship was quiet again. The rod lay on the floor, dark and lifeless. Ben collapsed beside Lena. His hands were shaking, his face soaked in sweat. But she was breathing. Her pulse was steady. She was alive. Far above the sky, in orbit, a new threat watched. A dark council of alien warlords stood in the command center of a hidden station. One of them hissed, "The girl has awakened the Guardianship. The human survived." Another whispered, "She must not reach Earth." A third raised its clawed hand. "Send the final weapon. Burn the planet if you must." They activated the last unit, the Executioner-class destroyer, a ship designed for one purpose: erase everything. Back, on Virex 9, the ship's AI gave one more alert. New signal detected. Planetary-class weapon inbound. Estimated arrival 14 minutes. Ben stood again, his fingers tingled from the pain. More? Lena sat up slowly, looking at him. You saved me. I don't break promises, Ben said with a tired grin. She looked at the screen showing the approaching enemy. Her face turned serious. We won one battle, she said. Now we fight for everything. Ben stared at the screen. The Executioner ship was the size of a city. We can't outrun that. No, Lena said. We don't run anymore. She walked to the control panel, steadier now. The ship responded to her like it knew her heartbeat. Panels opened, lights turned gold. Then, a new room revealed itself behind the main deck. It was ancient, hidden, sealed since the war. Inside were 6 stasis pods. Each one held a glowing orb. Ben stepped back. What are those? The AI replied. Royal echoes, Memories of Velnari leaders, trapped in energy, waiting to awaken. Lena touched one. The orb glowed, then floated toward her and merged into her chest. She gasped, but didn't fall. Her voice changed slightly, deeper, older, like a second presence had joined her. Ben looked worried. "You okay?" She nodded. "I'm not alone anymore. My people live in me." The ship prepared to rise into the sky. Its wings expanded fully for the first time in decades. Ben sat in the co-pilot seat. Lena placed her hand on the main control. The ship's voice said, "Guardian-class vessel ready. Locked on executioner target." Ben looked at the stars. He saw that massive enemy ship growing closer every second. "Can we beat that?" he asked. Lena didn't look afraid anymore. "We have to." She looked at him. "And if we don't?" He smirked. "Then we go out, fighting." She smiled back. Then the ship launched into the sky like a comet. Fast. Silent. Bright. The final battle was waiting. Not for a kingdom, not for a throne, but for a little girl's life, and the man who kept his promise. The stars burned quietly, but between them war stirred. Lena's ship, the last of the Velnari Guardian-class vessels, raced through space like a blue flame. Behind her, the planet Virex 9 shrank into the distance. Ahead, death waited. The Executioner-class destroyer was huge. Its shadow alone blocked starlight. Its surface moved with crawling turrets, pulsing cores, and a single red eye that glowed like a dying sun. Inside the cockpit, Ben sat beside Lena, silent. Neither spoke. There were no words left. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was a moment that would decide what kind of future, if any, the galaxy would have. The AI voice finally broke the silence. Target range, 100,000 kilometers. Enemy preparing primary cannon. Ben turned. To Lena. "That cannon, what's the chance we survive a direct hit?" "None," she said softly. "But we're not waiting for it to fire." She reached forward and touched the command crystal. Suddenly, her body began to glow. Not just the rod, not just her eyes, but all of her. The guardian echoes inside her. Memories of kings, queens, generals merged as one. She stood tall and spoke in a voice that was no longer just hers. To those who hide behind fear and fire, today, the forgotten rise. Today the hunted fight back. The ship answered her power with its own. Wings extended, engines screamed. The Guardianship surged forward at impossible speed, straight at the destroyer. Ben locked into the weapons panel. "Let's make some noise." The executioner ship responded. Drones spilled from its sides, hundreds of them. Machines with no soul, no mercy. Lena's ship didn't slow. Ben fired. Turrets blasted them from the sky, but more came. Laser beams danced across the stars, and then the Guardianship vanished. For a second, nothing. Then it reappeared right in front of the executioner inside the drone swarm, too fast to track. Ben shouted, "How are we doing this?" Lena whispered, "The ship's not flying on engines anymore, it's flying on memory." Inside the core, a storm of ancient energy swirled, power once used by empires, now burning for a single child. The executioner's main cannon began to charge. Red light gathered. One shot would end it all. The Guardian AI spoke, shield capacity at 21%. Structural integrity failing. Final option, fusion detonation within enemy reactor. Ben's eyes widened. "You want us to fly into the center and blow ourselves up?" Lena didn't blink. "We might not have a choice." She looked at Ben. For a long second they just stared at each other, then she said softly, "You've done enough, you don't have to come." Ben smirked. "Kid, I didn't protect you just to let you die alone." Lena's eyes shimmered, and for the first time, she reached for his hand, not out of fear, but trust. She had chosen him, not as a protector, not as a warrior, but as family. The ship flew straight into the enemy, dodging fire, crashing through layers, slicing through metal, They reached the core, a giant glowing engine, pulsing like a heart. Ben grabbed the last plasma charge. Set it here, right in the heart, he said. Lena nodded, placing it with trembling hands. The AI gave the countdown. 30 seconds to critical overload. They turned to leave, but the hallway collapsed. The exit was gone. Ben stared at the smoke, then looked at Lena. She shook her head. No, there has to be a way out. Ben placed his hands on her shoulders. Listen to me, I made a promise, and now it's your turn. He handed her a small escape sphere, meant for one person. No, she said, shaking. Ben smiled, gently. You're the last of your people, Lena. You carry the future. I'm just the old human who kept you safe long enough to reach it, she cried. I don't want to leave you. Ben leaned forward. Then remember me. He hit the launch button. The sphere closed around her. With a final scream, she called his name. Ben, and then she was gone. The executioner exploded. A silent, blinding light filled space. Debris scattered like stars being born again. And in the quiet, a single escape sphere floated. Inside, Lena curled into herself, tears in her eyes. But also something more. A light in her chest. A warmth in her heart. She wasn't alone. Not really. Because one man's courage now lived in her blood. Years later, on a green world where humans and aliens now live together in peace, a statue stands tall. A human holding a child's hand, facing the stars. The plaque reads, "He didn't wear a crown, but he saved a princess." And every night, Lena looks up at the stars and whispers to the wind, "I remember."